Hello and welcome to NewsMobile Live. Today we're going to be discussing the Digital India campaign, the $18 billion campaign that has been started by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And today with us, we have Dr. Dinesh Tyagi, the CEO of the CSC SPV program. So let me introduce Dr. Tyagi to you. Dr. Tyagi belongs to the IS services. He's worked in the Tripura state in various capacities as Secretary Education and Principal Secretary Finance. He's also worked as Director in the Banking Division, Ministry of Finance. He was the custodian of Special Code in 1992 in the Finance Ministry. And for all our viewers out there, let me now shift to the CSC, the Common Services Centers that are a strategic cornerstone of Digital India program. These are the access points for delivery of various electronic services to villages in India, thereby contributing to a digitally and financially inclusive society. The CSCs are more than service delivery points in rural India. They're positioned as change agents, promoting rural entrepreneurship and building rural capacities and livelihoods. So, Dr. Tyagi, coming back to you, what can you explain to all our viewers out there? What exactly is the CSC's role in Digital India campaign?
See, common service centers are an integral part of the Digital India initiative. These are front-end access points managed, operated, and run by a local entrepreneur. He possesses the basic computing infrastructure, has the connectivity, and the government enables and uses them for delivery of various services. Currently, there are about 1,70,000 common service centers in rural India, out of which 1,30,000 are in various panchayats. The objective of the Digital India initiative is to have minimum one in every panchayat. So we're making an effort in order to identify entrepreneurs who are willing to invest in their infrastructure and also make use of these infrastructure for delivering various services to city.
So, Dr. Tyagi, you mentioned that the aim of the government is to have one of these centers in every panchayat. Is there a deadline which the government has to complete this project by?
Within this financial year, we should be able to complete all of them.
Okay, so we have a deadline which is for all of you out there, it's by the end of this financial year. And you mentioned about how these centers are controlled by rural entrepreneurs. So is there a particular training or induction program that goes in the process in order for them to communicate and gel with the technology that's coming into the panchayats?
All these entrepreneurs are trained on a regular basis. There is an initial program which is a 3-day entrepreneurship development program, which brings in necessary skills of how to run an enterprise in rural India. Also enables him to learn the various services which need to be delivered and the format in which he is to engage with the communities for accessing those services. Besides this, there is a regular training program which is done through workshop. Last year itself, we organized about 900 workshops across the country for meeting these entrepreneurs and training them various services. Besides, whenever there is a new service launched or a new service initiated in the program, we make very small videos called 2 minutes videos, which enable them to go through the entire video process of how to avail the service and how to deliver the service.
So the government has a very organized and systematic program in place in order for all these entrepreneurs to gel in with the technology that's flowing into the panchayats. And one more question to you, so what is the selection process that goes for these entrepreneurs? Are they selected from these panchayats or is there like an examination for them? So how do you go about selecting these individuals?
See, the essence of the program is that he must belong to the same panchayat. That is how the community relationship built confidence in the community, because he is doing many of the financial services also. So he is not an outsider. So that is one critical part, that he must belong to the same community. Secondly, he must have the ability to take a risk. He must be having necessary wherewithal in order to make investment in the capital required for setting up the basic infrastructure and willing to do that part of the work. Necessary training in the other part is being done by the state through various structured forms.
So you mentioned about how this individual needs to have risk-taking capabilities. Does that mean, like, is the government financing these projects or are they giving subsidies? Or is this like, this rural entrepreneur, does he have to spend a certain amount of his own money as well?
The government does not provide any funds for capital support. Okay. All the money which is required to be invested for putting up the basic computing infrastructure, having the space, is spent by the entrepreneur himself. So that is how it is risk-taking.
Okay, so are there any financial institutions that help, or are there any subsidy programs in order to encourage people from setting the infrastructure for Digital India?
There is a program of Mudra loan which is being extended by banks. So banks are now saying extending Mudra loan to these entrepreneurs who are approaching them and found to be viable in terms of funding by the bank itself.
Okay, that's amazing. And my next question to you is, about how the internet access and internet network in general, it's not very popular as we know in the rural segment of India, and how people still have a stigma towards the internet backing and because of their social cultures and everything. So my question to you is, has it been tough for all of you in this particular program to actually to go to villages and tell them to use technologies and move from the conventional systems of day-to-day working?
One of the programs launched under Digital India is the Digital Literacy Program, which is at least making one person in every family digitally literate. We already done about 40 lakh people trained across the country through the Common Service Centers. Common Service Center person engages, enrolls the person in the villages and make them digital literate. This program is done for 20 hours. Then of course there is an examination done by NALET or National Institute of Open Schooling, and they are given certificate. So the community excitement for enabling him to use digital technologies in his day-to-day life is largely being done through National Digital Literacy Program. Of course, the village level entrepreneur has to have its own footfalls. So therefore, he does a lot of marketing himself in exciting community, in trying and tell them what benefit they can avail out of it. He brings the children into the center and make them aware of the computers, the tablets, the Android phones, and let them learn out of this process in order to information, knowledge and skill which actually enables them to become a better human being and also participate in nation building.
So Dr. Tyagi, my next question to you arises from the previous one. The Digital India program actually aims of connecting all the Indian states and villages and panchayats and so on and so forth. And we know for a fact that India is multicultural and multilingual as well. So there are a number of languages that are spoken throughout the country. So what initiative is the government of India actually taking in order to make all the websites these language friendly? Because let's say I go to a particular state where they speak a particular language. Now what is the point of them having internet access if their language is not there on the internet? They won't be able to they won't be able to use the services which are available online. So does the government of India have an initiative in order to include all these languages from the Republic of India?
That's true. Government has a program of promoting the local language content as well as local language uses by the people building the villages. As far as the digital literacy is concerned, the content is available in 14 languages. People can learn in the language, can also appear in the same language exam, which is being done. So the effort is to encourage people to learn in the local dialects and also access internet in the same local format. There is a program intensely being done on promoting the local languages for the country, also using the various universities who are helping in creating content of that nature.
So there is lingual literacy being spread throughout the country, as you said.
That's true.
Okay, and next question again, so this is a very expensive program for the government of India, and in fact, according to statistics, we know that India stands to import about 3/4 of the $400 billion worth of electronic products that it will consume in the Digital India campaign. And since we're majorly importing these products, does the government of India also have another scheme in order to manufacture these goods and services and the infrastructure required within the country under the Make in India campaign, which the Prime Minister has launched?
One of the component of Digital India is promoting manufacturing, and there are large incentives being provided across the country. There are also interface and interaction taking with large players both within India and abroad in order to encourage them, along with the state government, because there is also need for land and resources in addition to also the other incentives. But that program is being done, and fairly significant interest has been shown in many industries across the world in coming to India and manufacture goods here for electronic promotions.
Okay, so if you have to say, if to give in percentage terms, how far has how many stages has the Digital India program completed? Like, if you have to quantify it in percentage terms, I mean 50%, 60%, close to 100%. So where would you say that the Digital India program is and has been so far?
See, one of the determinants for Digital India is that most of the services a citizen should be able to avail very close to house. As the Honorable Prime Minister says, you must be able to access services on your mobile. You are sitting in your close to your house. That means you don't have to go to a government office. That's in essence. So citizen get benefited by availing his services wherever he is, mainly relating to government. In any case, private sector can also use the same platform. So that effort, with that intention, the government has succeeded quite a lot because most of the state government services and the government of India services are now online. They can be accessed. You may have a point in terms of the access device being available to people, and that is why the assisted format of common service center. So wherever people in rural India still doesn't have computing infrastructure of their own, or are unwilling or unable to various reasons to access these services, they can use the assisted format of access point to avail these services.
Okay, and
So
Dr. Tyagi, my next question arises from a point that you just mentioned about how Prime Minister Narendra Modi has actually encouraged, and the whole aim of the project is to get internet into every hand of the Indian citizen. So again, how about the spectrum allotment? Because we see even in the best of metropolitan cities, people who have cell phones, for example, I as an individual user, there are times when I don't get coverage in the best of cities. So how is the government tackling that problem in the very remote and rural villages? Because connections are not good in some parts of cities such as New Delhi, Mumbai. So how are you tackling that problem in rural villages and panchayats?
see, Bharat Broadband Network is one of the programs being initiated in which these 250,000 panchayats will have the optical fiber network connectivity. That means the quality of connectivity will improve significantly in that sense. And this quality of connectivity will therefore enable people to access internet. What we are also doing is, as with common service centers, we have taken an internet service provider license that from the NFN point, the end point where we terminate, we can then provide internet to people in the villages. So by 2017, they want to cover a large number of the panchayats across the country, and I'm sure there will be significant improvement in the quality and access of internet by people living in rural India.
And definitely, and the Digital India campaign, it's been collaborating with a number of private companies. Now my next question comes from that. Since the spectrum has very prohibitive costs, as in it's segregated, some parts of spectrum are more expensive than the others, then what prevents companies from providing better services to metropolitan cities rather than villages and panchayats? Because for a fact we know that the amount of revenue that these companies will generate will be much higher in the metropolitan cities rather than the villages and panchayats. So how is the government tackling that problem?
Since the NFL is the government supported program, so the basic core infrastructure is being provided by the state. So therefore, a large substantial part of the cost of putting core infrastructure of overseas cables is being done by the state. So therefore, it should appear to be attractive even for private players to go to rural India and extend the connectivity and internet.
And my final question to you, Dr. Tyagi, is we know for a fact that the internet carrier services on mobile and our mobile plans they're one of the cheapest around the world, which is a good thing for Digital India campaign. However, some of these mobile data plans, they still turn out to be really expensive for the rural population and a majority of the urban population as well. So does the government have some subsidies in mind? Because if the costs of the program, of this ambitious program, they're higher than what the average Indian can afford, then the program becomes pointless. So does the government have a plan in mind for that?
With so many players around and the overseas cable being a neutral pipe can be used by any service provider, the market should determine the price structure. Government does not. Government is investing in terms of supporting through a poor infrastructure. But the other part of the story should be built on market. If one service provider does not find it attractive, the second come in play. The entire overseas cable which is being provided will be neutral to any service provider for making use of it. So therefore the market will determine the price structure and I'm sure stabilize over a period of time.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Dr. Tyagi, for your presence here and enlightening our users about the whole Digital India campaign. And for our users out there, we had an expert, Dr. Tyagi, who's heading the CSC program in the Digital India initiative launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And stay tuned to NewsMobile for more updates and more live videos. This is Sajal Bansal signing off. Thank you.